Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tornado Tag Podcast, episode 145. We have a awesome topic tonight. We joined by Vinny Berry from Wrestleville, and this guy does it all. He's got interviews, he's got podcasts, he's got books, he's got a website, killing the game. We're going to learn so much about him in a moment. But first, we want to do our housekeeping, get that out of the way. We have our Patreon. It goes from $1 to $25. When I say 25, I always think of the Adam Sandler skit, 25 cents or whatever.
$1.25.
There it is. Yeah. So if you want to subscribe to that, it helps us out. Anything over $10, you have a chance for a running of a free t-shirt. So we want to thank Ryan Vox from Outbreak Wrestling, Dave S, Brett Squared, Bridget M, Andrew H, Greg R, Heidi B, Ryan G from the Fueled by Hots podcast, Kelly, Crystal Mountain Healing, Tommy B, the Tree of Life Metaphysical Shop, Brad Z, Higher Than Other Words podcast, and JH. So every time you get to donate, no matter if it's $1 or you guys are still the best.
We are C-list Tanzanian celebrities here.
Yeah, we're like the Miz in Tanzania.
That's right.
We're killing it. We're
Beloved.
All right, Brian. Tell us who we got here.
Yeah, fun times here. We have somebody whose output and whose work is not that different from ours. A very good eye into maybe people don't see on WWE every day. Maybe some of the more historical than things that we like to do here. Vinny Berry from Wrestleville, author, podcaster, everything you just said is going to be joining us today.
How you doing, Vinny?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
We're very excited to have you. So let's dive into it here. We'll ask the very first initial generic wrestling podcast question that everyone gets. How did you fall in love with this thing that we call professional wrestling?
I grew up in Dallas, so we had world-class championship wrestling, and I saw the Von Erichs. And what would happen was we moved there in the early 80s, and on Saturday evening, when we first moved there, they had world-class championship wrestling on Saturday night at like 5 p.m. I think it's 5 p.m., 6 p.m., something like that. But we'd be out with our friends playing, and before you know it, everyone was just running home, and it was like, where are you going? They were like, we got to go watch wrestling, and that's what they did. And, since they were doing it, I got to check this out and see what the whole buzz is about. Man, it took like one episode.
I've never actually seen anything from.
Really?
Yeah,
Did you watch the documentary?
No.
That WWE made about the.
It's excellent.
Yeah, it's very good. Like, wow, it's on the network.
Yeah.
And one of the things, especially about that time, even compared to like WWF, because that's when Vince was kind of in the early process of building what he built, World Class's production values were on another level. They were head and shoulders above everybody else in wrestling.
Yeah, it didn't look real dingy and dark. And
they were the first ones to use proper lighting, multiple camera angles, the ringside camera. That is all world class.
That's awesome.
Most places was just a hard cam.
Yeah, I was in that bubble. As soon as I was old enough to watch wrestling, it was the only thing I watched was WWE or WWF, and I refused to see anything outside of that. I was like, nope, I'm brand loyal. That's all I'm watching, and that was a huge mistake.
and Vinny, sorry, go ahead.
Well, you just got to give, that television credit you have to give to Mickey Grant and Bill Mercer. Bill Mercer was a video broadcasting professor at North Texas University in Denton. And so, and Mickey Grant was a filmmaker. It's funny is because I live in South Texas, 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours away from Dallas. And I know two people down here who had Bill Mercer for a professor in television and news, so it's for broadcast television. So it's a small world, but he comes with a high a strong reputation for television, and I think that's one of the reasons why World Class was on point.
Yeah. Well, Ryan Vox in the chat. Thank you guys once again. If you are hanging out, let us know you're here. Ryan Vox is gonna add to the conversation. Say World Class was also the first company to have an in-ring camera.
Yeah, which is still pretty rare to this day. NXT's been experimenting with it, and they did it for a little bit in WCW. They had the referee where the referee would have a helmet cam.
Well, our beloved Sanctuary has an in-ring cam sometimes too. So.
Yes, the Sanctuary, very much like we said on the cutting edge of production. And Vinny, one thing I want to ask you is about that time and just that point in time with World Class in its heyday. Just how could you explain in today's terms just how famous the Von Erichs were in Dallas?
I'll tell you how famous they were. We went to Six Flags, which is like an amusement park, right? And kind of like what do you guys got up there? Marriott's over America or something like that?
Hershey Park.
We have a
and-
Hershey Park,
Hershey Park.
Knoebels, and we do have a
This is
Six
Six
Flags in
Flags.
Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah, Great
Okay.
Adventure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We were at Six Flags. It was hot. We were waiting in line forever. And all of a sudden, everyone just left the front of the line. And we shot up to the front, got on the rides. No one was behind us. No one's in front of us. And my dad asked the attendant, what just happened? He said, the Von Erichs are in the park.
That's awesome.
They were the Beatles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They were the Beatles.
exactly. They were like the Beatles. And anytime you saw them in town, and I lived about 10 miles from them. Anytime you saw them in town, it was a big deal. You know, hey, I saw Kevin at the gas station, or so and so was. You know, David was at the diner this morning, and you know, it was a big deal. You know, they were huge stars.
Let's break down the territories real quick. So you have Texas, you have
Well, Texas was not just one territory.
Yeah.
That's true.
They would have other towns, but Dallas was the centerpiece of world class. But then the Funks would run Amarillo, the Blanchards would run, I believe, Houston, if I'm not mistaken.
San Antonio.
San Antonio. Okay.
well, that's where I was
Paul
kind of
Bosch was Houston. Of
yeah,
course.
I was kind of
That's
I was
right.
kind of getting at like at that time, yeah, the Von Erichs ran that town. The
Yeah.
Funks had the other one. Like Dusty was
Well, Dusty was in Florida. for the
yeah,
most
but I'm
part,
saying
yeah.
like who were the big names of each, and the Von Erichs were of that town. Yeah,
But and Fritz Von Erich, the patriarch, was the promoter too.
Yeah.
Which helped.
awesome.
And so, just to kind of lead into one of your books here, because Vinny is the author of two books, or co-author of one book, and the full author of a second. But one of the books is Lance by Chance. You can buy it on Wrestleville.com, and that is co-written with Vinny and Lance Vaughn, better known to wrestling fans as Lance Von Erich, who is not an actual. None of them are actually Von Erich.
Well, yeah,
Just to kinda
he's not
go-
related to the rest of
He's
them.
not.
Yeah.
He's
By
not
blood.
an Atkinson. Is if we want to kind of pull a curtain back a little bit. Fritz Von Erich, like we said, he's the patriarch of the family, and he got that name in the 50s when the big thing was foreign heels. And right now everybody's saying, but the wrestling has changed. Like right now, you would be seeing a wave of Russian heels again, but they don't really do that anymore.
It's a shame.
But in the 50s, post World War II, it was Germans. So you had Fritz and Waldo Von Erich, and all of Fritz's kids became the big stars of world class. And unfortunately, David Von Erich passed away well before his time. Was being groomed to be the NWA world champion, pretty much, and unfortunately did pass in Japan. And six-man tags were a huge part of world class, and they Vinny, I'll pass it on to you. Let's talk about the creation of Lance Von Erich.
Well, they brought in the Freebirds. You know, David went to Georgia and he went to Florida. He kind of left Dallas for a little while, and he met the Freebirds, I guess, on his journey out there, whether it was in Florida or in Georgia. But he told his dad about them, and he ended up bringing them back to Dallas, and they came into Dallas as, you know, everyone were friends, you know, and boy, I tell you, the fireworks went off on Christmas. What was it? 1992 in 1982, the fireworks went off in the cage when Kerry Von Erich was wrestling Ric Flair, and Michael Hayes was the special referee. And let me tell you something, the chemistry that they had between Buddy Roberts, Michael Hayes, and, you know, Terry Gordy and David and Kevin and Kerry was just amazing. But that following February, that's when David Von Erich went to Japan and never returned. And he had the intestine. What was it? The
Toxic shock, right?
Yeah.
that was Michael. That was Mike.
Acute enuritis. Yeah, I had. Yeah.
Yes, there
Mike
you
was-
go.
Toxic shock. Yeah.
And so he passed away. Well, Mike at that time had just made his debut. What was it? If we fast forward, I'm sorry. Yeah, so it was 80. Man, it's been a long
It's
day.
so
but
long ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
But long story short, they are short of
In
Von Erich.
'84, he passed away. In November, in November of '84, Mike Von Erich made his debut. Well, he was not quite ready.
Yeah, and
was
it,
very
he
It
was
was
small.
very
83.
small.
He was very small. He wasn't ready, and that's when, after David Von Erich died, they ran into the Lance Vaughn. Lance Vaughn was a bodybuilder. He was buff. He, of course, did a ton of steroids and very open about it in the book, and very interesting. Just he kind of really paints a really good picture of what the steroids were back then, and but he couldn't wrestle. But they thought that he was a handsome guy. They thought, hey, he could pass for a cousin of the Von Erichs, and that's what they did. They brought him in.
But it wasn't Lance from the same town and area that
He was actually he was,
So when he came out, people were like, wait a minute, that's not Lance Von Erich. And they would know his name.
and
He was a high school.
there was some of that. There was a little bit of that, but not much. I mean, really, back then, when the Von Erich said this guy was purple, everybody pretty much believed him.
It's such a cool time of wrestling too, where that kayfabe wasn't dead. It was still very much alive, and it was very, very important to the business.
Yeah, and to that point, this is one of the big parts of the early portion of the book. That he had a handful of matches under a mask in World Class, spot shows away from Dallas, and then Fritz and everybody sent him away to Portland to learn how to work, to get some serious. The Don Owen, yeah, and he learned under Sandy Barr. He traveled a lot with Billy Jack Haynes, and that's where he kind of learned. And he was Ricky Vaughn, and he was the champion there. He did pretty well for himself in Portland. And back then, not everybody had everybody's TV, but a lot of people read the wrestling magazines. So people may have seen Ricky Vaughn or read about Ricky Vaughn in the wrestling magazine. So when he came back to Dallas as Lance Von Erich, they said, you may have seen him as Ricky Vaughn, but he was using a different name because he didn't want to make his name off of the fame of his cousins. Yeah. And so they had this backstory. They actually cared enough to do that back then.
So even you would say the smart marks of the people who read the wrestling magazines, also the wrestling magazines also kept kayfabe alive too.
Yeah, yes. Well, the After mags were 100% kayfabe.
I love that.
And then you had, the Observer was around back then, but it was very, very fringe.
Yeah,
it was very.
It's so hard, I guess, now for modern day wrestling fans to even put those blinders up, because everything's so like, let's break that down. We want to know inside scoops. We want to know.
The news is so easy to get.
Yeah. It's so easy. It's so accessible now with all the like Facebooks, Instagrams, Twitters, and all that.
Yeah, the internet's changed.
Yeah, changed the game.
And to the point where, and this is something that they go into too. At some point, there's a money dispute, and Lance Von Erich leaves World Class and goes to a competitor, Wild West Wrestling, and they have to actually break kayfabe and going like, yeah, we kind of put one over on you. He wasn't really a Von Erich because now he's with a competitor.
Well, and he didn't leave World Class to go to Wild West. That here's how it went down. He was wrestling basically 2 times a night, and at one point, he was the only Von Erich wrestling. He was the only, the only guy wrestling with the Von Erich name, and he wasn't even a Von Erich. Mike was still Toxic Shock. Kerry had his motorcycle accident, and Kevin had injured his shoulder, and he was out. And so, for a long time, you got to remember too, the Von Erichs, all those guys partied, right?
Oh yeah.
And also too, their dad being the promoter, I don't know if they had the attitude, well, I can get away with it or whatever, but they didn't always show up to their matches, and they have a reputation of that today. There's a lot of people that will, say that, that was the bad thing about the Von Erichs, is that they didn't always show up to their show. So, with Lance Von Erich, he just got he got fed up, and so he said he stopped showing up. He had a shoulder injury, and he just kind of stopped coming to his scheduled matches, and then Fritz von Erich was afraid that he was going to go to the WWE, so he went ahead and went on television, and they Kerry
You
and
have to turn your phone real quick. Sorry,
Yeah.
you're in landscape mode.
yeah, sorry about that.
Now you're upside down. There we go. Now
Yeah, and you're back.
And you're back. And you're sideways again.
Yeah, you're sideways again.
Let me see what I can do for you guys.
It's funny they thought Lance would go to the WWE. Like, if anything, they want to carry. Which they
Yeah.
Oh, they want to carry in the worst
yeah.
way.
I mean, Vince probably looked at one time.
They
want
wanna-
to. Oh my God.
Kerry,
God damn.
he wouldn't have left his dad, but Kerry could have been Hogan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the thing too, is that the Von Erichs were extremely talented, but how we were saying before,
There we go. Perfect.
Yeah, you're good.
They
Had-
like
had
the
the
party.
re-
Not so
the
much
repre-
Kevin. I mean, he did it back then.
Yeah, had the reputation of like divas are hard to work with.
Yeah.
They thought they were bulletproof, so to say. I mean, we were all kind of speculating because none of us were there. But
Yeah.
And as far as just getting together to do this book with Lance, how did that come about?
You know, it was I had started my website in 2017. I was reaching out to a lot of people in Texas. I knew some people in wrestling, and I got in contact with James Beard, the referee, one of the referees in World Class, kind of like in the later years after the heyday,
And the GWF later too.
yes, and the couple times that we talked, we were talking about Lance Von Erich, and I just kind of thought that, you know, it was just very. I said, what an interesting story that would be. You know, I didn't know the story. You know, I mean, I knew of him, but I didn't know the depths of what's in this book until, you know, and he just said, hey, if you want to get in touch with him, this is how you find him. So I reached out to him and I said, hey, this is who I am, and I'm interested in talking to you. And he Facebooked me his phone number and said, call me tomorrow. And when I figure out how to call the foreign country he was in, I
had no idea
talked
how
to him.
worldly he was. Yeah.
Yeah, he was in Mexico, but
wow.
he spends time in Mexico. He spends time in South Africa.
Wow.
One of the more interesting parts of the book too.
He's off the grid in Mexico. Every time I hear when someone goes to Mexico, I think Jesse Ventura. I'm off the grid.
He controls the weather, man. And so yeah, one of the more interesting parts of the book too is when World Class would take. They were big and this is like as World Class is at their height, cable is starting to take off a little bit, and even before that with syndicated TV, World Class was big on the Christian Broadcasting Network, which had the 700
Right.
Club and things like that. Fritz and Pat Robertson and those types were very, very close. And so they were big in places they didn't even know they were known at. And one of them was
That's
Israel.
Oh,
With the
wow.
Christian population in Israel, World Class was huge, and they did a tour over there. And I'm not going to spoil anything because you should go out and get Lance by Chance at Wrestleville.com and read it for yourself. But there are some very interesting stories of the trips to Israel.
I can
Very
imagine.
interesting.
You know, and I'll give you a little. I'll share a couple with you on that Israel trip, and just going back to the Wild West thing. I because I was messing with the phone and everything like that. You know, he liked Ken Mantell. Lance did, and that was Ken Mantell's The Wild West. But you know, he never left World Class to go there.
Right.
But when he was not wrestling, he wanted to do Ken Mantell a solid favor. But you know, this guy wouldn't have wrestled at all had it not been for David Manning discovering him on the golf course. He never thought in a million years that he'd be a wrestler. You know, it just wasn't his thing. But he sure did have the body for it. You know.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was in real estate before.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, he's pretty intelligent guy. I mean, talking to him, I mean he's worldly. He speaks like 7 languages. I mean, he's
Wow.
pretty smart dude, you know. I mean, even, you know, when I talk to him today, I'm kind of blown away by his intelligence, but he's just worldly, man. He's been all over the place.
Yeah, spends a lot of time in South Africa, yeah, all over the world.
He has a home in Israel too.
Wow.
Wow.
How about
Yeah.
that?
Very
Yeah,
interesting guy.
and going to Israel, that was a big deal for, one thing that he did. He was always really good about the marketing and stuff. And so when he found out that he was going to go to Israel, he learned phrases and he learned Hebrew and he studied the culture. And so when he got over there, he would speak in the ring in Hebrew, no matter what it was. And the people just bought into him real quick because, and so he was really smart about marketing and doing stuff like that. And, a lot of people think, and this has always been everybody's impression of the book, their first impression of the book. Oh, it's about Lance Von Erich. And I'm not going to say that it's not, but basically, this is about the rise and the fall of the world-class promotion. It starts off in, at that Christmas show when the Freebirds and the Von Erichs, started feuding, and, it goes through David's death, and it goes through Mike's death, and it goes through Kerry's motorcycle accident, and goes through Chris Adams, the story I wanted to share in Israel, that it's pretty known that Chris, when he drank, he got angry and kind of lost his cool, and he got pissed off when he was trying to make a phone call to the States, talk to his wife, and for whatever reason, the call kept on dropping. Well, he went down to the lobby and he started having a conversation with the bartender, and he super kicked the bartender, and his eye popped out of the socket.
Yeah.
Oh,
Imagine
And-
a super kick, and you're not, because you don't know what's happening.
Yeah, well, Chris
And,
Adams got a legit martial arts background too. Yeah.
Yeah, and they took that very serious. I mean, David Manning said he thought they wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
Probably.
Because they believed like eye for an eye. So he took his eye. So anyway, they snuck him out in the middle of the night, and he got on a.
They got him on a red eye.
Yeah, they got him out. Cops were everywhere.
He probably like, I'm never going back to that country.
Nope.
Yeah.
They hit him in David Manning's hotel room, and then as soon as they get him out, David Manning gets back to his hotel room, and he gets knock on the door. Is Chris Adams in there? No. Have you seen him? Nope. Haven't seen him.
Nope.
don't even know who he is.
Who?
Yeah. Who?
Yeah, like the only British guy in the country probably at the time.
And also, and I learned this from Anthony Green. Chris Adams won the first ever match on WCW Thunder.
Really? Wow.
He actually beat Randy Savage in the first match on WCW Thunder.
That was his first trivia question that Anthony Green gave him when I told him he was an encyclopedia.
And I got it wrong.
And Anthony Green goes, "Oh, he's an encyclopedia. I got one." And then everything after that he aced,
Yeah.
but that was the first one he got
Who
wrong.
the hell would know that?
Anthony Green, apparently.
Yeah.
Chris Adams.
Sitting down and talking to him and really learning this history and diving into something you were so passionate about growing up, what was a moment talking to him that really caught you off? Like, I didn't even know that existed, or one of those like stories or moments that he told you that you were completely in the dark about?
That Fritz Von Erich brought him into the business.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because I was under the impression that he was Ricky Vaughn, and that Ricky Vaughn was out there in the world wrestling, and this was what I thought. Hey, that Ricky Vaughn guy could pass for a Von Erich. Let's go get Ricky Vaughn. That's what I thought. But they groomed him and they trained him, and it took me a minute when he kept on telling me. He goes, they brought me in. I wasn't going to be a wrestler. I didn't want to be a wrestler. I hated that, and he goes, I still hate it. I don't watch it, But they came to him and they were like, look, we think you can make a lot of money. You guy's 24 years old. He's like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
Is there? I'm sorry.
But it was done. World Class was kind of like right on the cups of the down end. When they brought him in, they weren't making the money that they were when David Von Erich was there.
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
already seen the highest they were going to go.
Yeah, and David Von Erich, Kerry was the one that was camera ready, and for what wrestling became with the McMahonization of wrestling, Kerry became like the star. But David, one of the reasons they moved him away, and he was in Florida, he was in all these places, he was likely being groomed to be the NWA champion. And if you're going to be the NWA champion, you got to know how to work heel. And he's not. And David Von Erich was never going to be a heel in Dallas, so he can be a heel in Florida.
Yeah.
Right.
Anything else about the book that you want to?
Well, transitioning over to the other book.
That's is there anything you want to cover before we leave the Von Erich? Obviously, if you're watching this and you're not sure about, I mean, the Dark Side of the Ring was fantastic to learn about the Von Erichs. There's just so much out there, and obviously, go grab the book.
But the great thing about this book is, and the Von Erich story, as far as that the proper Von Erichs, the Von Erich family, the Atkinson family, Fritz and his kids. That story is a tragic story, but it's a very interesting story, and it's been told. Yeah. Lance Von Erich is one of those guys who is kind of not forgotten, but almost like more of a footnote. And it's something, if you know, but there are probably a lot of people that haven't really heard about that part of it, just heard about it in passing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there was a Von Erich that wasn't really a Von Erich, but no, this is the guy. And this really delves into the guy, and it's a very interesting look, and it's a very interesting character piece.
Yeah, even the WWE documentary just touches on for like a minute, and that's it.
Yeah,
you're right.
And
all the documentaries.
Yeah, it's just he was Lance. Lance Vaughn wasn't an actual Von Erich.
But you don't realize how much stories he had because he was there the whole time.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about him being there was he was there when Cuno Hernandez died, and he was there when Kerry had his motorcycle accident, and he was there when Chris took his life, and he was there at all these when they went to Israel, and I mean he was there at a very pivotal time of the company, and a lot of people, they give him this minor role, but he really had a major play, because when all the Von Erichs are sidelined and he's the only Von Erich in Dallas doing all these shots, and he was like, look, the money doesn't match up for the work,
Exactly. Yeah. And this is a guy who wasn't one of these people who did this. It was just like this opportunity was thrust upon him. He didn't ask for it. It was given to him, and he's relatively new to the business when he's being asked to carry the territory.
Yeah. Dude, I just remember first time seeing the Texas Tornado, I was just blown away. I'm like, this guy's awesome.
Look at him,
I loved him. I had a great look.
Kerry was incredible.
Yeah.
I was at Texas Stadium when Kerry won the NWA World Heavyweight title, and let me tell you something. It was 115 degrees out there, and there was over 40,000 people out in that stadium. And I'll tell you, man, no one was leaving. No one was going to leave to get a drink of water or nothing. People were dropping like flies, but I'll tell you, those Von Erichs were hot. And you know what? I think what people don't realize about the book, it starts out, it takes you to Portland, takes you to Dallas, it takes you overseas to South Africa, to India. There's a lot of really neat stories in this book that I think people are going to be like, wow, you're going to find out a little bit about Chris Adams in here. He talks about Bruiser Brody in here, but when he goes overseas, this guy's so transparent. He told me that that he smuggled guns, he smuggled auto parts. He started up these gyms over there. That's where he made all his money, over there making gyms in South Africa, because they were all dumps. Him coming over here from Dallas, he was like, he had this idea of what a health club should look like, and he put them over there and sold them to what's the Bronson, what's that rich guy,
Richard Branson.
Richard Branson. He sold him
Charles Bronson.
Yeah. Yeah, I almost said Charles Bronson. It's been a long day, guys. I'm like, whoo. You guys got me on an off day.
One of the other refreshing things too is for a wrestler, because wrestlers are notorious self-promoters. I think Lance has a very good idea of his place in wrestling. He was very grounded for a wrestler writing a book.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? And in this book too, before we go to the other, just to let you know, I mean, look, I talked to the Young Bloods. I talked to James Beard. I talked to Mark Lawrence, David Manning, Steve Casey. I talked to a lot of people, probably about 10, 11 people about this and got information. And I went through it. It was pretty mind blowing. Even Kevin Von Erich wrote the passage to the front of the book, and I'll read. It's short enough for me to read, but this is what Kevin Von Erich. I reached out to him, and we ended up texting for about an hour and a half one day, and then I sent him a book, but he did send me this. I asked him if he'd contribute something for the book. He said no. We started texting a week before it went to printing. I said, hey, I'll give you one last time to maybe send a paragraph or something. And he wrote, my brothers and I had been trying to change wrestling to our style. Kids loved it. And our TV ratings went through the roof. We were really good in the ring, and we were careful with our image. Lance was David Manning's and my dad's idea. I especially was dead set against it, and as we had never lied to our fans. I know how reporters can be. I knew it would come back to us. Lance looked good, but that was it. He was like mashed potato sandwich. He had no pizzazz at all. Yeah.
Kevin shooting a little
Tell
bit.
us how you really feel, Kevin.
Yeah.
It's true though. I mean, look great.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You say that, and he might have not been that great in Dallas, but I'll tell you, he was a huge star over there in the international in India and in South Africa, and a lot of people, he even says, he goes, man, my work didn't start getting better until I got over there because he didn't have to be under the shadow of the Von Erichs. The guy wrestled for 10 years.
Wow.
Now, what exactly did the Von Erichs bring to the table in professional wrestling at that time that was so different or was considered like a Von Erich style?
I don't know if it was so much a style. It's just that you had the NWA style, which was different places did different things. And the Von Erich thing, it was the storytelling. Or the Dallas, the big thing was versus creativity until it kind of ran out. Like every great booker, sometimes they kind of run out and you run out of steam a little bit, but like Vinny was saying, the Christmas night cage match and Michael Hayes turns on Kerry Von Erich and costs him the NWA World Title, and that gets you back in, and just the personalities, the dynamics. One of my favorite wrestling pictures ever is the picture of Kerry Von Erich holding the jug of milk, and then Michael Hayes is right next to him holding a big bottle of Jack Daniels. It's the best picture you'll ever see.
I love it.
And that picture just tells the whole story.
Yeah. So let's transition to the second book here.
The second book is Wrestleville, the Pro Wrestling Vault Volume 1. And it's kind of a compendium. And one of my favorite wrestling books or series of books is one that Dave Meltzer did called Tributes. And Tributes is basically biographies of wrestlers who have passed away. And what Wrestleville is, it's some stories about some very famous wrestlers like Harley Race, Ricky Morton, Larry the Axe Hennig. But you also have people that you may not have been nationwide TV stars. There's passages about Tim Storm, C.W. Anderson, Bobby Fulton. And it is a nice compendium of little stories and interviews and things like that. But we had the writer on. Let the writer explain a little bit. I'm trying to sell it here, but I think he can do a better job than I can.
Well, it's got 35 short stories in it. It wasn't what I was planning to put out. I wanted to do a story on how the COVID pandemic affected independent wrestling, but after there's going to be a really good book coming out by Keith Elliott Greenberg, and I'll put him over. That book is going to be amazing. It's coming out in September, but he basically, if you don't know who he is, look him up. He's a fabulous writer, fabulous author, and he wrote Too Sweet. It's just incredible. But anyway, I was going to write something along the lines, but when I hit a couple walls, I thought, I was talking to my friend John Paul LeBlanc. He contributed over 400 pictures to this book. Mm-hmm. And he said, look, man, you've got all these stories. I've got all these pictures. I'm not going to do anything with them. And so I thought, you know what, I'll do a compilation. I thought to take these stories, and of some people who don't get a lot of exposure. There's a guy in here named Alan Steele who's been wrestling for 20 years. He started wrestling with Daniel Bryan, but in that whole deal when OVW or the Memphis wrestling
Power Pro.
Yeah, Power Pro, they bought it out, and there you go. He missed it. He got down. They kind of put him down to the jobber status, and they took who brought in people and used it for their training ground. Well, a lot of guys on the scene. There's a guy in here who wrestled for 20 years. Well, a span of 20 years, but 5 years over a 20-year period. And he's got an incredible story about Bruiser Brody. His name's Van Horn. And, in 1980, what was it? 88, 87. Well, in the 80s, they had that movie, The Warriors, with the gangs and the baseball players. And the Bruiser Brody saw these guys and he booked them in St. Louis. And I'm looking for the picture, and Bruiser Brody was like, look, you guys got to go to Japan because they love wrestling and they love baseball over there. Yeah. And
Baba was a baseball player before he was a wrestler.
What happened was Bruiser Brody told them, he goes, look, get your passport, get everything ready because I'm going to take you to Japan after I come back from Puerto Rico. Oh. Well, he got stabbed in Puerto Rico and that never happened.
Yeah.
And so here's the picture right there on page. Oh, I just dropped it. 140 or not one. It's
44.
Yep, 44. And
there it
he's
is.
got there you go. Can you see it? Well,
A little bit.
Your friend's got the book.
Yeah.
Boy, the angles are trick.
Yeah.
I'm not even
a little tough.
Yeah.
And I actually left the book at home. The one time I should have brought it, I didn't bring it with me tonight.
But you know what? Go ahead.
A little trivia question for a famous Texas wrestler, a little more modern. One of the more famous contributions that the Warriors have, the movie The Warriors has to wrestling, is a famous line from the movie that Booker T took and made his own.
Can you dig it?
Can you dig it? That's right.
Can you dig it? I love that movie.
This book is what I like about this book is you pick this book up, you don't know what's in it. You're not going to know what's in it until you go through it, right? But you've got some pages in there that kind of tribute to the former NWA champions. You have a photo in there with Cody Rhodes, Adam Pearce. You've got a photo in there of Jazz. You got a photo in there of Rob Conway, and all these different NWA champions from one time or the other have their title reigns. But you've got these people on the independent scene. You've got stories in here of people that people might not even heard of. Like the story I just told you about Van Horn, but you got Eric Andrews, you got Mr. USA, you got Josh Lewis. I don't know if you guys know who Damian Wayne's been around for 20 years. They should have put the NWA on him 10, 15 years ago. You got Chaz Taylor, Wardell Walker. These guys have been in the wrestling business 20, 30 years, wrestling on TV. Chaz Taylor tells a story about Owen Hart in here, and he shares the story about, when he passed away and how much it hurt him. And, you got a story in here. There's an interview in here with Bill Dundee. Is like, this guy is like, when my friend read it, he was like, it sounds like the angry man on the lawn, it's like, the angry man, get off my lawn,
Yeah.
but he's talking about how professional wrestling has changed. It's like, look, these the way they're doing wrestling, it's not called flips and acrobatics. It's called wrestling, and they don't even do it anymore.
And Chaz Taylor is one of the few people in wrestling who can say they have been in a bungee match.
That's right.
The bungee
That's
match.
right.
Ryan Vox knows Damian Wayne, says he's the man and old school to the core. I'll tell you what, man, your book reminds me a lot of I mean, I'm still new to the business. I've only really been backstage or experiencing a backstage for about a year and a half now.
Yeah.
But like those stories, like you meet someone who maybe to your casual person who watches TV wrestling doesn't know, but like we go to a place and they're like, oh, here's Dr. Frank. Now,
Yeah.
if someone who's been watching wrestling and they like, and they've been but they
They
don't
have
know
no
a
idea.
doctor,
Yeah.
and then you meet a guy like that who's been in the business this long, and you just sit and talk to him, you're like, holy crap, you have a. I mean, and your book reminds me of those great locker room stories you hear from veterans.
Dr. Frank book, how good would that be?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Dr. Frank, Vinny, in Pennsylvania, we're a commission state, and by law, you have to have a doctor present for all shows. And Dr. Frank is a legendary ringside physician.
Who's probably been doing it for 30 years.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, if you watch the King of the Ring from 1999, where Mick Foley gets thrown off the cell, at the end of the match, in comes Dr. Frank. He's got a big mustache. Jim Ross calls him out by name, like, there's Dr. Anderscott.
Yeah,
like, so great.
He has like a museum in his house essentially because guys like Owen and
1, 2, 3 kids,
1, 2, 3, like they would all come, like they still like they see him and they like because his house was also a place people would crash or go, and he had like space for them. And they would like, hey doc, here's some gear for you. Thank you for all you've done.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
I mean, remembers your name, like
when him and Earl seen each other in Hamburg, it was such a cool moment.
It was so cool to see. Earl Hebner and Dr. Frank probably hadn't seen each other in years, and just that meeting again was very cool.
Yeah, but your book reminds me a lot of that when you get to sit down with some veterans in the business and they just tell you these stories and you're like, man, like you
just
feel blessed to hear
not
it.
on Raw or SmackDown doesn't mean they don't have stories or they had great matches over the years. Just they were never seen on the big scene. That's all.
Yeah, that's
right.
Awesome.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a like a reference book or a history book. One of my friends, he said he was going through like in the middle section of the book of the pictures. There's like maybe 6 pictures, maybe 12 pictures from like a specific event. And, a lot of these pictures came from the Gulf Coast region, but, there's a lot of people AJ Styles is in there, Keith Lee is in there, a lot of guys that went through that area, and it gives you a reference. It's kind of like, like I said, my friend was looking up those events. You find anything on the internet now, right? And he was like seeing the other matches that were on there, but you're going to learn about wrestlers that maybe you have heard of, and you don't know, a lot about them, or this is like an intimate look into what they shared with me, and I share it with the fans. And there's a lot of people in here on the up and coming scene. I'm already working on volume 2, and I have a story about Blake Christian in that book, and it's mind blowing. It's going to blow your mind.
It's a beautiful cover too.
Thank you. A gentleman in England designed that. You should have seen the sketch I gave him. It looked nothing like that.
Yeah,
it is a cool cover.
I'm gonna pop it on the screen real quick. This is what we use
right in the middle,
in our graphic, but this is both books here sorry, we have our font there where it says
that's
the
okay
name. But there's the covers of the books. They are on sale. The links are below for Wrestleville.com. Go to the shop tab. I believe there's 2 versions of the Lance by Chance, where one you can buy, or I think it's like 17, and then the other one is 20, and it's autographed by Lance.
Oh wow!
So you can get a signed copy.
And the Wrestleville Pro Wrestling Vault Volume 1 comes signed too by one of 14 wrestlers who are in the book.
Cool.
Very cool.
Nice.
Very cool.
So when did you transition from the website to the podcast game and doing interviews that way?
Well, when I started putting the book out, people were saying, you got to do a podcast. You have to do this, and you do this. And I didn't want to do a podcast because I don't have any more free time, right?
Well, here's a quick question for your podcast. How do you know what's in the book and how to use for a book interview, and what to take and put on as a podcast?
I do 2 separate interviews if I do that. Or I'll just do it, I won't always do an interview, a written interview. I'll just do a podcast. If I want to write there's some people like, look, I want to write a story about you, and I'll do a little 20-minute interview with them, and then for the audio but then I'll do something that I can write.
Yeah.
That's my passion. I like writing. I call people up. I tell them all the time. I said, look, I can do an audio interview with you, but I don't want to do that. I want to write a story about you.
Yeah,
Right.
That's something. It's got to be a challenge because you want to be a writer, but obviously in the day and age we have now, obviously books aren't going away, but people, they like to hear that audio side of the podcast.
Absolutely.
So that's why my question is how do you defer to, okay, this is going to go out as audio and this is what I'm going to keep for a passage in a book?
Well, that's a very good question. And I guess first off, they have to say yes. I'll do the interview. If you guys interview guests, you know how challenging it is to to get somebody to give you some time like that. And so like I said, I just I'll talk to them and tell them there's some guys that I just want to write about, and I'll just say, look, but if I find their story very interesting, I said, hey, after I got the interview, something, enough information to write about, I'll just say, hey, can I take about 15, 20 more minutes of your time and do an audio interview? And if they tell me something different in the audio interview, which I usually do, then I can use it for the written portion as well. So
there you go.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to keep you too much longer here. Where can people find your podcast, and who are some of your favorite guests that you've had on?
Oh my goodness. Well, I just interviewed Sean Hernandez. You guys know?
Yeah, I wrestled him once.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, he was an excellent interview, and this guy was talking about like the finances and the marketing and how to, not burn yourself out in the market. He wrestles for one. He's from Texas, right? So he wrestles for one promotion in Dallas, one promotion in Abilene, one promotion in Amarillo, Lubbock, Laredo, Houston. He doesn't go to Dallas and 8 places. Bam, 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 bam. He's figured it out in such a way where, if you want to see him, you're going to have to pay to see him, and when he goes to he's very interested in the fact that he never wanted to be one of these wrestlers. Like, his goal was never to be in the WWE, and a lot of people think, oh, that's crazy, but he wanted to travel the world like his dad did, but he just didn't want to be in the military, So he goes to Germany. He'll do a couple weeks over there, but when he's in the States, he's selective on where he goes and how many times he goes, because if you see, look, if I can see Super Mex Hernandez in my town every single night, what's the draw?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and that's his
first time. Yeah.
So that was a pretty amazing interview. I just interviewed my first death match wrestler. I'm not into death match. It's not my style, right?
Yeah.
And but I can see the trend, right? And so I had a lot of questions, and I reached out to about 7 people, and no one wanted to do it. I don't know why they did, but Congo Kong, do you guys know Congo Kong?
Not sure, no.
He's kind of like the modern day Kamala gimmick.
Yeah.
He's from
he's in Ring of Honor for a moment, right?
Yes, he was in Impact. He might have done some Ring of Honor stuff, but he did have a stay in Impact. Well, he turned me on to a guy named Eric Dellinger, and I talked to him, and I just said, hey, listen, I'm not trying to, pin you into a corner, and I'm not trying to, I got you, or, I'm very curious about what the big deal is on this. And I said, like, dude, it's got to hurt, what is this, And he was very transparent and very open. We had a great conversation. And, one of my most intelligent conversations, I think, was with Maddie Rinkowski. I mean, that girl is an amazing, intelligent. You talk to her about wrestling and what she knows about wrestling. I was like, wow, this girl's amazing, and she wanted to be a wrestler all her, for forever. But her mom was like, get your degree, and then when she went to go for her internship or her first job in her field, there's a volcano in Hawaii, and she says, I'm taking this as a sign, Mom. I'm going to wrestling school. She said, go ahead. So,
kind of going through your list here. Jimmy Rave, got to talk to him. Thunder Rosa on the list there. Just Incredible. See who else we got here. Some of the newer ones.
Mario Mancini was very interesting. He's a fun guy to talk to, and he was a jobber in the WWF for 8 years.
Oh wow,
legendary.
Yeah, so he'd have you'd have to. Tim Storm, from former NBA champion.
Yeah. Vinny Pacifico,
also a former. You wrestled Vinny Pacifico, didn't
you? I wrestled. Yeah, we were in the 4-way match.
Yeah,
he was just on the first Control Your Narrative show.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, so many good names. So definitely, everyone, like I said, the links are below for your website, for your Instagram, your Twitter, and your Facebook. So anyone who wants to get in contact with Vinny or wants to go check out his podcast or his website or go grab those books, it is Wrestleville.com. And like I said, just search Wrestleville on all social media platforms. Thank you so much, man, for coming on. I know you just worked a long shift. I don't want to keep you too much longer. But I truly appreciate you reaching out to us and sending us 2 books and coming on and hanging out.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys giving me the time. And like I said, I have volume 2 working on. It'll be printed this year. It's almost done. I'm going through the pictures. They have about 40 stories, short stories. And I'm going to open it up with, are you guys familiar with the Northern Wrestling Federation up in Cincinnati?
I don't really,
not really.
No.
Well, you will be, because that thing is probably one of the best kept secrets. The Abyss came out of there. Carl Anderson came out of there. Jordan Clearwater came out of there. Chris Harris, Jillian Hall. But you know what? What he's got, it is just. They're doing an amazing thing up there. But to have, 5 pretty big names like that come out of there. I don't know. He fell in my lap. I wanted to do that story, and I just sent him the story to look at it, and I talked to his wife, and he seems to be pretty pleased with it. But I'm going through pictures. I'm gonna highlight them, but I'm gonna do another about 40 more wrestlers, and I don't know if I'm going to do another book like this, but
that's perfect for somebody who might not, if you're thinking to yourself, I'm not really a book person, it's too much time to add. A book like that, if it's 40 stories, 30 some odd stories, you can just pick your spots and read around, and it's something
that's kind of what I like.
It's not intimidating.
Yeah.
But before we go, what temperature is it right now in Texas, where you're at?
Oh my goodness. Well, it's been up and down. I think tomorrow's going to be 81, but it was 48 yesterday.
Oh no, not 48.
Oh, 40. We almost got to 48 today.
48. Yeah, it was like
Pennsylvania for those listeners.
Yeah, it was like 48 a couple days ago, but we got bipolar weather here, man.
48. We're all wearing shorts.
We're in between snowstorms, Vinny. So
we have a huge storm hitting us in a couple of days.
We won't see 80s for about 3 more months yet.
Yeah. But thank you once again. Once volume 2 drops, definitely hit us up again. We'd love to have you on and talk some more stuff, man.
Jillian Hall is a wonderful person too, by the way.
Oh yeah, Jillian Hall was. I got to do commentary with Jillian Hall. It was
we
a blast.
joined the Dark Order with Jillian Hall.
Yes. We met 10 and 5 from the Dark Order, and Jillian was there, and we all got a group photo, and we all took pictures throwing up the hand. And actually, my mask is right over the corner there, my Dark Order mask, and actually you can see it kind of sitting on that yellow beam there.
Okay.
But yeah, and we took it with Jillian and we tweeted it saying, meet the Dark Order, check. Join the Dark Order, check. Join with Jillian Hall, check. And the Dark Order's Facebook and Twitter account reshared it. I'm like, well, that's official. We're in.
Yeah.
If they retweeted it, we're in. I'm Dark Order 450 because I'm bigger. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So you need 3 numbers.
Yeah, I'm in the triple digits.
The triple digits.
But Vinny, once again, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and everyone
you.
stick around. We're gonna talk some current day wrestling, and then we'll get you out of here. But thank you so much for hanging out with us, Vinny.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Have a
Nice
good
meeting
one.
all of you.
You too, bud. All right, that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
was a
Von
good-
Erichs are a good topic. I always
Did you ever watch the WWE?
I've
documentary?
seen not the documentary. No, I've seen Dark Side of the Ring, and I've seen some of their matches with the Freebirds when I
Okay.
was younger. So, but I remember they were good-looking guys.
Yeah.
So that
I
sticks
always
in your
thought-
mind.
not to be rude, but I always thought Kerry looked like a mongoloid. Like his body, awesome. The face, I was like, I don't see that.
Later on, I remember seeing a lot of later on World Class when it was on ESPN, like in the late 80s, and they would show like archival stuff. But it was mainly they would show, like people who are in WWF now, like it'd be like the Dingo Warrior,
Yeah.
who, by the way, Lance Von Erich won the tag titles with. What a tag team that is. Lance Von Erich and the Dingo Warrior.
What a
and Rick
name.
Rude.
I know.
What a name.
What the hell's a dingo
Go.
warrior?
It's funny because Vince McMahon.
You know who the Dingo Warrior is?
The Dingo Warrior? You know who that is?
Well, I'm thinking dingo, like the dog in
Well, yeah,
Australia.
that's where it came from.
But you know who the Dingo Warrior turned out to be then?
No.
The
The Ultimate Warrior.
Oh
He
God.
started off as the Dingo Warrior and then became the
Well,
Ultimate
I think
Warrior.
he started off as like Jim Justice or something.
Yeah, and then he was
Yeah.
Blade Runner Steel.
Yeah, Steel. Yeah, because
Well, there's stuff from Memphis, and I think just called him Hellwig, Jim Hellwig. I think just used his real name at the time, and he would just make fun of Phil Hickerson, was this all-time Memphis guy, because he was out of shape. And meanwhile, like the Warriors just roided up to the gills. He's got a mustache.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk some current day.
Yeah. So I mean, Jeff Hardy's in AEW. I guess that's the big news this week.
There was a pay-per-view.
There was a pay-per-view.
There
Revolution.
was a lot. It was a
Yeah.
action-packed week.
Yeah.
You can pay money to yell at your least
Yeah.
favorite control your narrative
But only
wrestler.
one person did.
Yeah.
Somebody paid $100 to go into a broom closet and yell at Austin Aries for some reason.
For real?
If you're gonna yell at somebody, pick Austin Aries.
I love the one guy.
Wow, you must have money to burn.
This one guy, he's like this indie wrestler in England. He released his DMs that EC3 like DM'd him to try to get him booked, and he's like just fucking with EC3. And at the very end, he's like, "My price is Austin Aries gets vaccinated."
Jim Cornette said a good way. It's like, I wanted to call a lot of people assholes, but I don't want to pay them $100 to do so.
But in other news, Andy was before the podcast started was outside getting beaten up by 14 guys, and me and Brian were gonna go run and help him, but we decided to dance our way.
You have to do your taunts first.
Yeah, we had to get our dance in before we jumped in and helped Andy Header.
Oh yeah, have to.
That's
Boy, was that a
It-
interesting debut.
It was at Merrick, Miami. He was upset that that he took the L at the Monster Factory.
Yeah, oh my God. Listen, we seen it coming. We knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Then Darby and Sting come out, and then Jeff comes out, and they hit the WWE music.
Yeah, which was
exciting.
The
Apparently
old,
it's-
not
yeah,
the No More Words.
Yeah.
The old.
But they played it for 4 seconds and cut it as Jeff is. I guess they cut we have to cut the music. He's dancing. Like
Yeah.
he's supposed to run out and help. He's just like,
Yeah.
But look, it could have been worse. He could have rounded the crowd again
Yeah.
and just pieced out on the match.
Yeah, I mean, it's some of the things that take you out of it. Like I said in one of the
But
chats,
just the music. It's like, my brother's been attacked. Cue up my music, please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
like-
that's your old. Like,
yeah. It's when you're watching the monster movie and you see the zipper. You know it's a fake movie, but then when you see it, like, oh,
yeah,
like it's kind of takes like Jeff should have ran out, and then they could have played the music. Then, oh, I got the music.
yeah. I will say I'm still very excited. to
It's
see Hardy
cool,
back in AEW.
one of that picture you have Jeff and Matt hugging there was just that was fantastic.
You're gonna
seeing that.
see. And listen, I know Matt maybe is missing a step here and there. He's definitely not the Matt we're
Yeah.
used to.
Mhm.
But I will say this: they both seem extremely motivated
Yeah,
to do
and
this.
happy.
Yeah, and if you don't have to have them wrestle every week.
No,
you know?
and I think just having Jeff there, and obviously we want the Hardy Boys, but Jeff can do some single stuff here there too.
Yeah.
And the possibilities are absolutely endless of what we can see Jeff Hardy do there.
Yeah.
Do we get Darby and Sting versus the Hardy Boys? Do we get Jeff versus
Well,
Darby
there was
one on
some
one?
kind of weird stare between Jeff
yeah.
and
I
Darby.
mean, well, Jeff and
Oh, do
Darby,
they
Darby's
team
been has been compared to Jeff his
Yeah.
whole career.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
the young Jeff.
He's the guy who's charismatic even though he can't talk.
Yeah.
Do we get MJF and Jeff Hardy, because obviously he can cut some crazy promos and almost have that reflective of what CM Punk and Jeff Hardy did.
Yeah.
If CM Punk is gonna go heel at some point, you can run that back too.
Yeah, there's so many cool things that Jeff and Matt can do, and hopefully this time Jeff is on good terms with himself.
Yeah.
Obviously he needs to rub it into the past company's face.
I would if I was him.
And
He looks healthy.
Yeah,
better way
good.
to do it is to go out there and have some serious fun and put some great matches on in a new company.
And you can already buy the Hardy Boys T-shirt.
It's already out. It's exciting, man. It's pumpy. I'm pumped.
And then obviously there's going to be a lot of tag matches you can do. That tag division AEW is
And
good.
it's
Then
not-
once you go through all that, then
and it's
you
not
could,
done.
then you could do the broken stuff. Then,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I mean, there's a ton of steam here.
It's pumped. It's exciting. But let's go to our pay-per-view,
Mhm.
which all right, I'm putting it out there. Is it AEW's best pay-per-view?
I thought All Out was maybe a little better. It was good.
It was
It's
my
close.
second favorite.
Yeah, the only thing I would say a little long.
Yeah.
Like maybe
long.
the 6-man tag didn't have to be on there. But it was a very good match. But
6-man tag was surprisingly
Yeah.
good though.
yeah, probably like
I prefer
I like a 3-hour pay-per-view.
a 3-hour pay-per-view.
Let's get in and
and
out.
Maybe 4 with your pre-show, but with the pre-show it was a 5-hour pay-per-view, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, the crowd wasn't burned out.
I
Maybe
really
a little
enjoyed it.
bit,
I think
but
they got burned out by the Hangman.
yeah.
Yeah, there was only one real match that I could think of that was kind of slow, and that was Thunder and Britt.
And that was
little
yeah,
it was in
slow.
a terrible spot right
Yeah.
after the
Yeah.
It was right after the dog
match,
collar.
which
They're
a
saying
So
lot of people should have been maybe the main event.
Thunder wrestled Hurt.
Yeah, I know her thigh was taped up this week on
Yeah.
on Dynamite.
I mean, I thought the Jade and Ty Cup match was
It was good for what it was.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
for
Short,
two
7
people that aren't that well. That
Yeah.
don't- I mean, Jade knows less experience than Ty, but
Yeah.
they did fairly well.
Jade
for,
came out as Jade.
yeah, it's Jade
Yep.
from Mortal
She did
Kombat.
the
So
kiss
she
of
looks
death.
great. She looks great. You can't say anything about how
Yeah.
she looks.
Oh, she's fantastic.
Just in the ring, it's like it's not right there. Right?
Yeah, and she's not terrible.
She's working on it,
Yeah.
but she's working on it on national
She's- yeah.
television where everybody can pick her apart.
Yeah, that's the only thing that is. She's
And-
not great Khali, but like if she would have a year like in the Indies, or
her
a couple years.
opponents are shining.
Yeah, well, some of them.
Yeah.
Like, if you know you're buying Ring of Honor, maybe Tony Khan didn't. A year in Ring of Honor,
would
yeah,
have done her great.
wrestling people like Serena Deeb or
Yep.
whoever you're going to put down
yeah,
there.
and not just because you only learn so much in a 5-minute squash. Like if
Mhm.
you're wrestling a 10-minute match where you're back and forth, you learn way more than hey, go out there and punch him a few times. and he'll move.
Absolutely. Yeah. Overall, great pay-per-view. I loved it. That
Yeah.
that 3-way tag match was
That was good.
tornado. The tornado
Yeah.
tag match was
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah,
awesome.
Jericho versus Eddie Kingston was
Yep,
very good.
Very good.
The dog collar match, I think, was the match.
I think I like the dog car match, but I mean, you could say any match. I mean, probably no one's gonna say Jade and Ty.
No.
Yeah. I honestly, the tag match blew me away. Like, I know I keep saying it, but fucking Jungle Boy is a goddamn star.
Mhm.
That guy and Luchasaurus looked fantastic.
He did look good there.
He has some matches where you're like, oh man, this guy. But I think he earned his keep there, man. He's like,
and it's all with who you're dancing with, and
Yeah.
Red Dragon and the Bucks are as
Yeah.
good as it gets.
Yes.
yeah, it was really great pay-per-view. Applaud.
I'm trying
Applaud.
to- And then William Regal made his
Yeah.
debut.
William
Regal.
fucking Regal comes
After
in and
Moxley Danielson, which was a good match.
bitch and another tag team for that division.
yeah.
Holy Hannah.
I think it's almost time for United States tag titles. Which,
Yeah.
which haven't been
Ooh.
seen in
Do you go United States tag
20
titles?
years, 25 years.
Do you go a secondary tag title or you go triple tag
I would rather a
secondary
secondary
tag.
tag because
with Freebird rules?
no
Yeah.
secondary tag would just to a tag team because you have right now you have 10 legit tag teams at
'Cause
least.
a lot of your trios now even are just there's a tag team and a singles guy like Adam Cole and Red Dragon, or I mean, best friends. There's like 80 of them. So
Yeah,
it doesn't
because
really
like
count.
you can put like, yeah, let's say you win the U.S. tag titles, and now they're gaining a lot of steam. They want a world title shot. Whereas the trios tag titles, you can have them, but you don't necessarily.
and you can't do both because then you have too many titles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're already flirting with too many.
I mean, it seems they're probably gonna do trios titles because they like that idea.
Also, we got rid of the teacup dinner
Yeah.
plate
The
women's
Women's title?
Oh,
Yes.
I
Thank
was like,
God.
what are we talking about? Oh,
That-
yeah.
I called it the Barbie doll title because that's what it fit on.
It was
Barbie
so
doll.
small.
title.
They made it
It
bigger,
was.
and it was still small.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
it
tough.
was
It's
smaller
tough to
than the
gauge this
secondary
on
title,
Britt
too.
Baker.
yeah, but
She's
even
tiny.
when like it was small on Riho, and then poor Nyla got it, and it was like a little baby belt, and then
Yeah.
they made it a little bit bigger for him. It's still small. It's like
I do like it though.
but the new one is nice. It's very
Yeah.
mid south.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they showed the
North
title.
American
was-
title.
was
I
clearly
like it
based-
because
That's
it's
okay.
different. Yeah.
The side plates. One has Riho on it as the first champion doing a splash.
Yeah, like it's like the kind of like the outline, so it's not clearly her, but like
Yes.
when you look at it, you're like, oh,
And then the second one is going to be the person who pretty much birthed this title and had a successful defense, which was a shocker to everybody because everyone thought this was it. This
Yep.
is the time that maybe she drops it, and she's on the other plate doing the what the fuck she call it?
pronouns, pal, Brit.
I'm talking about what's Britt's name, finisher name.
Oh my god.
The lockjaw.
The lockjaw. She's
Yeah.
doing the lockjaw.
I was gonna say manipulate, but that's
I
the
wanna say
actual
mandible claw, but it's
version.
Well,
not.
it is like the mandible claw.
Yeah.
And then the crossface.
She
Yeah.
was successful, but I don't think she's going to be holding that title for too
Yeah,
much
because
longer.
No.
now it makes sense why Thunder Rosa didn't win it. Then San Antonio going to have the cage match next week, so that's probably what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this isn't WWE. It's a cage match, a big blow off match in the babyface's hometown. I think.
Yeah, and everyone's
Rosa's
saying
gonna
it's
win.
time,
Yeah.
so I think she's going to pick it up there.
Yeah. Do we?
But I'm happy they showed Britt with the new title though. And, like she got a chance with the new title.
Yeah. Tons and tons of new action figures
Oh, by AEW,
get dropped. So they're
everybody,
showing,
even
they're
a
showing for
Taz commentary figure who wants that.
some of the scans.
And he gets some of them look terrible.
Some
but
of the scans need to get redone,
I think they're about 2 years out. So I mean,
which is
there's
good
time
because
to-
they need time
yeah.
to.
And
Eddie Kingston looks terrible in that.
Awful.
another big thing is Pro Wrestling Tees is getting into the pizza
Yeah,
business.
Pro Wrestling-
Powerbomb Pizza.
Yeah, Powerbomb Pizza.
What?
And coming to a town near you.
Delivery
Philly,
only.
Chicago, New York. Oh yeah.
Oh, all
town-
the big
yeah.
wrestling
yeah.
towns.
Just
Delivery
big
only.
towns, yeah.
Here are some of the things that are going to be on their menu.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a real. It is and it isn't. It's they call them like either I think they're called like virtual restaurants or ghost kitchens, where basically they're taking existing pizza places and they'll throw this branding on the pizza
Oh.
and then you can order it. It's
Yeah.
like Mr. Beast Burger is a big thing like that became from like the YouTube guy. But they have Eddie Guerrero's Latino Heat Wings. You have Gangrel's Fantastic Garlic Breadsticks.
Which
And-
he wouldn't eat because he's a vampire.
You have for dessert Brutus the Barber cheesecake,
Oh my god, that's great.
and then
Cheesecake Baba.
cheesecake Baba. And then some of your pizza options are the 4 cheeses of Foley.
I
You
like
have,
that.
The Godfather's Pimpin' Pepperoni Pizza. Vader's Mastodon Meat Lovers Pizza.
Who's going in the Hall of Fame
Hall
finally.
of Fame, and also Sid.
Rumor has it, not confirmed, but it's gotta be.
That's gonna be Sid.
Rob Van Dam's That's a Lot of Veggies Pizza.
Oh, I like that. A lot of greens on.
Yeah,
the
a lot
pizza,
of
like
green on it.
broccoli, probably green pepper. I don't know.
Yeah, the Legion of Doom Chicago Street Fight Pizza.
Okay.
What
bread-
is on that?
Italian
Spikes.
beef, Gardnera and mozzarella cheese.
Oh.
You have Kevin Nash's Big Sexy Sausage Pizza,
I like that.
Piper's Barbecue Pit Pizza,
Okay.
and last but not least, Bret Hart's Best There Ever Was Supreme Pizza.
There you go.
Is there any? Who has the pineapple pizza?
You would think you would just like a Hawaiian.
I mean,
guy.
you
Yeah,
probably
it should
say
be
like
like
Jimmy
John
Snuka, but you
Morocco.
probably can't.
No.
No.
I don't think you'd use him.
Don
No.
Morocco's Hawaiian Pizza. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don
Yeah, I
Morocco.
can't think of anybody classic other than Carlito, but he was semi-new, so just put
Yeah.
his name on it.
They ha-
Nobody likes pineapple on pizza
don't
here
put
except
pineapple
for
on your
I don't. know,
Me.
I
It's
don't.
good.
I
It's
thought-
fine.
yeah, I like it.
If you like it, you like it. It's not my thing.
Yeah,
Canadian bacon and pineapple. It's a good time.
Canadian bacon, yes.
Okay, bacon's all right.
with pineapple.
No pineapple.
Yeah. Anything else? Current events that we can talk about?
Dolph Ziggler won the
Yeah.
NXT title. Braun Breaker might be headed
Moving on
to the main
up.
roster
Yeah,
sooner or
probably.
later.
That's what I would think.
We missed Wardlow's turn at the pay-per-view also.
Oh yeah, that was good. Cut a good promo. Good. Cut
I
a
thought
good
so,
yeah,
promo.
he
yeah.
done good.
For
I
his,
thought
for
so.
his first one by himself,
Yeah.
yeah.
There was a lot of that though. Maybe a little too much for one show. Just a lot of people
Talking.
New
talking and
stories.
justifying their act. I understand after
Setting
the
up your
pay per view,
stuff.
you're resetting your table, but you can set it up a little longer. Scorpio Sky wins the TNT title. He'll be
Did not
facing
see that
Wardlow.
coming.
No, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I didn't think he
either.
won either. I was like, wow, he won it.
Yeah.
Good.
Paige
Now, do you
Van
think?
Zandt
Do you think?
officially
Do you think
Here's-
Wardlow takes it off and run away?
No.
No, there's something.
MJF's gonna
MJF
cost
screw
him.
him,
Yep.
yeah.
And then they'll have the contract dispute because they're doing the story where he's contracting MJF and not
Which,
AEW.
which I'm a little sour over because it's like, oh man, you brought Wardlow so far, and then you're just gonna leave him hanging.
Well, I mean, he'll get there eventually.
Yeah,
I
but
honestly,
still.
I'm gonna be honest. I think Wardlow taking the title off Scorpio Sky,
It was a bad move right
Wardlow
now.
doesn't need the TNT title.
he doesn't need a title, and I think him working a program with MJF with no title is more beneficiary to him than being a champion.
Yeah,
I can see
then they
that.
have a ladder match with his contract, and if
Yes.
he gets it, then he's.
I
you
did
know.
love what
Oh.
Jim Cornette said though. He was like, Tony Khan has all this money to buy Ring of Honor, but he can't buy Wardlow out of his contract
Yeah.
with MJF.
Listen, times are tough, man. He's spent a lot of money. on
Yeah,
that
yeah.
guy.
Tony Khan's hurting.
Yeah, he had to buy. You know,
Those gas
party.
prices are getting Tony Khan. He might only have $6.5 billion now instead of 6.6.
Yeah,
Uh,
I didn't like that FTR fired Tully. I was like, is this like a
That was
send off for Tully?
surprising.
Like
Yeah.
what?
Maybe
I-
Tully brings in them boys.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
That'd be something.
ooh, Tully brings in the Briscoes.
Yeah. I don't know how they'd fit well together, but
No.
Yeah, that would be a little odd.
yeah.
Arn's freeing up now. Tully's
They
freeing
should
up.
bring in Papa
Maybe Flair is sneaking
I
his
Flair's
way
gonna
in.
come at some point.
Yeah,
Whatever happened, that kind of blew over. Some people
Yeah, the
kind of
plane
forgot
ride
about
thing
that.
nobody really cares about.
Arn has no one to work with right now. Tully just got fired.
Yeah,
and
I don't know what would you do with them.
Yeah.
3 managers, like,
are just 3 people come out and they're like, maybe they
well, they're not
announce,
gonna wrestle.
they announce a new 3-way or a new 4. Like, we know these guys are the next horsemen. And then somehow
They already
Tully.
have too many stables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because you're kind of breaking up the pinnacle and the inner
Unless
circle.
you make them like commissioners or some sort of like a commissioner.
No,
group
no commissioners.
in-
I
in
love how Ahab
ROH.
doesn't
You
have
already
that
have.
role.
Well, you do. You have Tony Khan, but he's not on all.
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
time.
but he's not
his
like
face isn't always
he's
out
like
there.
the what was his name before he showed up? Jack Tunney. How
Jack
they used to just
Tunney.
mention Jack Tunney, then he would start showing up.
yeah,
That's still my president, Jack Tunney.
I love it. Anything else we want to get over before we get out of here?
A few other new champ. Ricochet won the Intercontinental title. RK Bro won the tag team titles.
And Randy Orton said he's having the most fun in his career.
Yeah.
with like
It
what Kane
shows.
said when he was with
That
Daniel
was a
Bryan.
very fun match on Raw. The 3-way tag with Alpha Academy, RK Bro, and Rollins and Owens. It was a
Yeah,
very
with the
fun
rumors
RKO,
is-
the moonsault.
Rumors are they're maybe close, or they're waiting for finalization to see if maybe Cody shows up on Raw in
No, no,
Jacksonville.
they're
on
saying-
Monday, yeah.
They're saying Cody not going now. So
Yeah.
Well, now they're saying that the talks are still there, and they're waiting to see if he's willing to accept it to come to Jacksonville and set up that Rollins
I
match.
think both places want to give him less money than what he wants.
Yeah.
And that's the whole because he thinks he's worth X, and they're like, we'll give you this, but not that.
Also,
Intro.
Paige Van Zandt,
Yeah.
official AEW women's.
Yeah, out of all them
competitor?
people from that group, she
Mhm.
was the one to sign because she's
Yep.
the one that like, wow, she's like
She could go.
understanding this. She can
Yeah.
talk and she has presence. So their MM guys
And
just look
she's
like
very,
idiots.
very attractive.
Yeah, like you'd be a great fighter. Doesn't mean you're gonna be a great wrestler. But
Yeah.
she was like,
She
wow,
was good. No,
wasn't
she
the
was
best fighter
absorbing.
either.
yeah.
She's a psycho too. She's an absolute
Yes.
psycho. In UFC, she broke her arm in a fight
Mhm.
and kept fighting.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
She for how hot she is, there was a fight where her
She's
nose
tough.
got splattered all over her face. And you
Wow.
would think like a girl who looks like that, she gets some blood on
Yeah.
her. Dude, she fucking was smiling, rubbing the blood
Yeah.
all over her. She's a fucking
Well,
nut job.
she has the character thing and everything.
Oh,
down,
yeah.
so just, she
She's
can
got
learn
the
in ring.
pizzazz.
She did bare
I would
knuckle
She
say-
boxing.
signed the contract on Ty Conti's ass. I mean, how more can you say?
I don't know if-
I'm freaking here.
Ty is the one I put her with at first because
Well, it was the replacement.
They both have MMA backgrounds.
I know, but that doesn't matter for wrestling.
It can.
If
it
they're
can
gonna
help.
if they're gonna integrate it, yes. And I can see them integrating it, trying it, yes.
Okay,
Because we've tried it before. We've tried it.
okay.
With,
You
with
don't know
Mox and
your first
Hager.
match. Do you want to wrestle someone who's wrestling for a year, or do you want to wrestle someone that's wrestling for 5 years?
I think a good transition person would be someone who came from the same background as me, who can teach
the
the
best-
I mean,
transition.
that's great. Like Bo Jackson knew all about football. When he went to baseball, it didn't matter.
Well, he's just
I
a
mean, he
good
can
athlete.
run, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, you might know ground and pound, but it's not gonna work for pro wrestling.
But
A little bit.
They weren't always ground and pound.
What
though.
the-
I'm
Paige
just
wasn't.
saying. I don't know my MMA.
Basically, they'll probably just do some light MMA sparring for 5
Yeah.
minutes, and it looks like wrestling.
Yeah,
and
which
then
is
you do a few
like,
moves.
Yeah.
I
But
don't want to see that.
Yeah, I know you
yeah,
don't
you
want
don't
to
like
see
blood
it, but
sports. So yeah, it'll be a
yeah.
blood sport style match.
Yeah, but like I don't know.
I
I
mean-
wouldn't put her with Tay Conte at first.
Who do you put her with right now?
Straight
Yeah.
deep. Well, she's heel.
They're
She
both
wasn't
heels,
heel. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who like the veteran babyface women there. Mercedes.
Yeah. Mercedes. That'd be a good one.
Mercedes.
Yeah, because she could lead her through a good match.
That would be a good. That
Thunder
would be,
Rosa if she wasn't going for the title.
because WWE has that luxury of, and it sucks for her because she's so good and she has a history. But like, oh, we're bringing in Shayna Baszler, and she has a great MMA background and
Yep.
she's good on the independent scene. But who do you put her with first? Natty.
Yeah, Natty.
Ronda's coming in. Natty.
Yeah.
like Natty's
you-
that go-to.
That's what I'm
person.
saying. You,
Natty's
you need that person that you know you can get a good match out.
And,
of,
and
especially
Mercedes is perfect.
if the person isn't that like they're green yet.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, I love the Mercedes. That's a good call. Yeah.
So here's something. This is a little.
Oh, we're joined by the Juggalos. Juggalo crazies.
Bit, all right.
That's awesome. That's pretty exciting.
So
Speaking
You
of
know who
wrestling,
they are?
I don't know, but Juggalos love wrestling, so we have a new fan.
they do.
Joey Janela had some news today. A few things. We have Wrestle Pro. They run. I think it's going to be in Rahway, New Jersey, next Saturday, the 19th. Somebody is coming out of retirement. I think the Rock and Roll Express are going to be in that show. But somebody's coming out of retirement to face Joey Janela.
No, wow, Barry Horowitz.
Horowitz
Wow.
and Joey Janela
I have his
He looked
autograph.
pretty good at the
at the con. Yeah,
con
at the
last year
Hamburg.
summer.
I love
He
it.
gotta be what?
60s.
Yeah, at least 55 at the very
Holy
least.
shit.
He looks good still.
He does. He looks very good.
He was a very underrated wrestler because working didn't really matter back then, but that's why he was that guy. He could make anybody look good.
Yeah.
Mr. Technical is a call him, but he said because Joey wants to fight him, he's like, I'm not going to be Mr. Technical, I'm going to be Mr. F you up. He said F and not the actual word.
Oh,
Oh, that's funny.
And then the other big news, obviously the Collective is coming up WrestleMania weekend. And one of the centerpieces of the Collective is Joey Janela's Spring Break. They are bringing back the greatest clusterfuck, which is it is a Royal Rumble with no real set amount of entrants. This could be 30, it could be 50, it could be 72.
Yeah.
It could be just about Crime Time was in it when they did it in New York or New Jersey. Mantar was in it.
MJF was in it that one year?
MJF, NWO Sting was in it. The lead singer of Wheatus was in it. A naked guy was in it. So you never know what's going to happen at the cluster.
a man with no legs.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah.
But one guy that the first confirmed entrant in the clusterfuck this year, our dear friend, close personal friend, Maven.
Love it.
Maven is going to be in the
Like, does
clusterfuck.
I thought he didn't actively wrestle anymore.
I
hasn't.
don't think he has.
Yeah.
It's a battle royal.
Yeah, not that a battle royal you have to do
Yeah.
much. Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Like Mantar.
Yeah,
was
yeah.
A lot of good blood sport matches announced.
Janai Kai and Masha Slamovich has a full dance card. Janai Kai and Masha at Bloodsport.
Which we've seen twice at CFU now.
Yeah,
No, wow.
CFU coming up. Masha's going to be going up against Marina Shafir.
That's
Speaking
actually
of-
this Saturday.
It is Saturday, yeah.
That's gonna be. Is Jersey getting hit as hard as we
Not
are?
as hard. Kind of in between is getting hit.
Yeah, it looks like it's New York, us and New Jersey.
Like Broadheadsville is gonna get smoked,
Yeah.
but maybe go to Jersey, avoid it? Question mark.
Somebody really wants Nifty 50.
Yeah.
I really want to see that CFU show, but I wasn't able to go because I was.
Wasn't it on
It's not gonna be live now.
IWTV?
They're gonna film it
Oh,
on
okay.
Saturday and then put it up
Alright,
later.
okay.
But I kind of want to be there live. But
And then in May, Masha is going to be in Portland, Oregon, and she's going to be wrestling one of the Stardom's biggest stars, Mayu Yamashita, who is very, very hard hitting.
I'm so happy for Masha. She deserves the shit out of it. She's so good.
And then what other news? They have so many different events.
Mikowski versus
I didn't see Mikowski.
oh shit. It's
I know Minoru Suzuki is going to be fighting Chris Dickinson. Jonah, formerly Bronson Reed in NXT, is going to be up against Josh Barnett. I think that'll probably be the main event. Barnett's usually the main event of Bloodsport.
Oh, Matt Mikowski just announced his CFU fight,
Oh, okay.
and it's pretty exciting. It's gonna be Matt Mikowski versus Victor, the Savage Gentleman,
Oh, okay. Lady Frost.
Lady Frost's husband. Yeah, both good strikers, both a lot of fun. Yeah. So we have Monster Slam. Just to go back to Bloodsport, Ninja Mac versus Yoya.
Yeah.
That should be fun. Suzuki versus Chris Dickinson. John Henning, or as we
Hennigan.
know, Henning, or Morrison Hennigan versus Simon Gotch, who's done Bloodsport before.
Yeah, he actually beat Mikowski at Bloodsport, and he also lost to the former Santino Marella.
I believe that's all that's announced so far. Shay McCoy's announced for CFU. No opponent.
I really liked Shay and Edith's match at the last CFU.
Oh, Shay looked good as a heel too.
Yeah,
she was a good
intense,
heel.
yeah. But as far as other stuff that was announced recently for the Collective pre-WrestleMania, For the Culture, which is celebrating Black wrestlers, they announced earlier the Hitmakers, the former Hit Row, against Shane Taylor Promotions from Ring of Honor. They just announced a big one there for the Impact Knockouts title. The Impact Knockouts title is going to be defended in a GCW show.
It's exciting.
The brand new champion, Tasha Steelz, just beat Mickey James for the title against Big Swole.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
We got to hang out with Tasha Steelz.
Yeah.
And the last one I have, and I'm gonna get my tickets now. I already told work I'm taking a point. I'm going.
Oh, yeah.
May 6th, the Weyerbacher Brewery in Easton, Pennsylvania. In his very last match, Avery Good is gonna be his last match is in walking distance of his house,
Mhm.
and he can
Can't
have
ask for a better
and he
one.
can have really, really high alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
Because that place serves it.
Blithering Idiot can knock you out. I've had Blithering Idiot before.
So
And it turns you into one.
And also too, if you just so to support this guy, if you head over to his Twitter, his Instagram, he has a shirt. I think it's $25 plus $5 shipping. I believe the logo was done by Lehigh Valley Customs, but maybe the
Yes.
art was done by I think Edith. I could be wrong
I
though.
don't know.
But it's this is Avery Good Avery Good's farewell tour. It's going to be his
nice.
very last shirt he puts out. So definitely go support him.
Another
buy that t-shirt.
Another thing, another event during the collective GCW's WrestleMania weekend stuff is Effie's Big Gay Brunch.
Oh, I love that.
Effie is wrestling one of the legends, Pimpinella Escarlita. Pimpinella is they call them exoticos in Mexico, and Pimpinella was one of the originals. They would basically be male wrestlers that would wrestle as women.
Wasn't Cassandra on the show last year?
Cassandra was, I believe, yeah. And the Cassandra and Pimpinella Escarlita were the big ones, and Pimpinella is wrestling Effie. A match that we've seen before. Can't Believe Frog. They're going to have Edith Surreal against Max the Impaler.
Ooh.
And Keita Murray. I forget who Keita Murray is wrestling.
Keita's going to be on it.
Keita Murray's going to be on the show
Nice.
too. Yeah,
Cool.
I just can't wait to hear Goodbye the Yellow Brick Road. That's Effie's
It's an Elton
entrance.
John
Oh,
song.
I didn't know that was his
Effie-
entrance music.
Yeah, and then everyone sings it, and
I don't like him already.
he's a good time. All right, Andy,
Yes.
what do you want to plug?
I have no shows because the PPW is canceled because of weather. Apparently, some other shows from the area have been canceled.
yeah. I think you're
this
going to see
Saturday,
a lot of that. Yeah.
the 11th, 12th,
Yeah.
11th, 12th.
I think I'm just gonna stay home and play video games. I'm pretty excited to have a weekend to myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even want to like Pottsville's doing that bar crawl thing. I don't want to be around a bunch of drunk people in the snow. And
It would be upsetting if this kind of falls flat though, and everybody canceled their shows. But
yeah,
you know, this.
Oh, if it falls flat, I'm going to Pilgrim.
yeah. Pilgrim's gonna have green Celsius.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's no weather, but people are to cancel, so you can't be like, oh, we're gonna have it now.
Yeah.
The show's back on.
You kind of can, because then all the wrestlers come in and pit fans. So
Yeah.
yeah, it sucks. So I have no shows this weekend. RWF is on the 20. When is it? Jeez, 27th. It's a Sunday. That's in
Sure, I believe
Harrisburg.
the
Yeah.
Sunday is the 27th.
Yes. So that's my next one in Harrisburg. RWF, and Sergeant Slaughter's gonna be there.
Yeah.
He's not gonna be wrestling, but he'll be there signing autographs, taking pictures.
I'm not booked. I'll come hang
Yeah,
out.
it's a Sunday show. It does start a little early.
It's Banging Beers. Won't be
5
there.
or 6.
Yeah, Banging Beers is that show's rocking right now. I can't skip a week.
Yes.
Brian.
Murder My Dude. We do skip weeks there usually, but we're going to do a few in a row here. Usually it's every other week. We did a special one. We actually released it already because yesterday, the 9th, was the 25th anniversary of the
Notorious.
yes, of the death of Biggie Smalls and Notorious B.I.G. So we covered his murder and Tupac's because they are very, very much related, and we discussed that in detail. So that is available now. If you look up Murder My Dude
there you
wherever
go.
you find this podcast, Murder My Dude.
How senseless were both of those killings?
Completely senseless.
Oh,
You can find it at project200.com or just look up Murder My Dude wherever you're at. And we will be back next week. We're not taking the 2-week break because every year we do Murder Oh Dude. This will be the 4th one. The first year we did the Molly Maguires, a local story here. The second episode was the Shankle Butchers, which
you're
was
gonna like this new episode.
which was yes, you will. The Shankle Butchers. That was the second one we did in 2020. And that was about the troubles in Northern Ireland and things like that. And then last year we did Darky Kelly, who was thought to be a witch. She was a brothel owner and may have killed some of the customers.
Yeah, that sounds up my alley. Yeah.
It's a very, very interesting episode. And then upcoming, we're going to be. He can't contain himself. It's not what it sounds like.
I'm 7 years old. I'm
It's
Beavis.
penis McFart face.
It's
and
close.
It's close.
It's really
It's
close.
our 8-year-old here.
My Beavis and Butthead's kicking
He'll
in
kill
during
people with his dick.
during sex education class.
we will be talking about a case that is known in Ireland as the case of the Scissor Sisters.
Oh god.
Not
That's why he's
that.
laughing.
Not
That's
that.
why.
Get
Yeah,
your mind out of the gutter.
they ain't
Yeah,
cutting paper with those scissors.
Be a good
No,
boy,
Cutting
Tony.
human flesh.
yes, they were. And they were actually sisters. That's why they called them that. But yeah, project200.com. Just look up Murder My Dude
Sounds
wherever
cool.
you go. And yeah,
I heard you're going every day now.
No, we are not.
It's really-
Murder my day every day. Murder my dude every day.
yeah,
Can you imagine
that was a joke. on the
doing a
show.
podcast
If,
every day?
if we did a show every day, it would be called Murder My Co-host.
Yeah. You would just do research every day to do the
I already
podcast.
do.
Oh,
That's why we do it every 2 weeks. It takes forever.
I can imagine.
And listen, you need to get up on your movie quotes.
I do.
Like gold dust.
Why? Are you that bad at movie quotes?
Awful. I'm the worst.
It's
Go
worse.
with the wind.
Well, no, I know them. I just pretend I don't know.
Yeah, you goddamn liar. Kelly, what do you got to plug?
Oh, we just done our Irish episode on Truth Behind the Illusion, which
Gosh,
was,
we did.
yeah, that we did.
And it wasn't about turkey, Kelly.
Oh my
No.
God.
It
The
was
old-
about Lep Castle,
What was the room called? The Bugaloo?
No,
Bloody
the,
Chapel.
no,
No,
the,
the-
the Weeblet.
The
Whatever.
oubliette.
Oubliette?
I think
Woobley,
that's a-
woobley.
I think that's
He's
a,
taking
rank
it
of the
way
Cub
French,
Scouts.
yeah. But it was the Bloody Chapel or Lep Castle and all the killings that were done there and some of the ghosts that still roam and the elemental that still roams there,
It's very
along with
interesting.
some Irish mythological creatures. If you check out our Twitter, or not our Twitter, I'm not very active on that, but our TikTok account I am. And I just had an unboxing video I just posted before I came here for Black Craft Cult on our TikTok channel and our Instagram channel.
Oh,
Check
cool.
that out. So I was unboxing the latest Black Craft Love and Death box, Volume 2.
That sounds metal.
Do you know they did Blackcraft Wrestling very briefly?
I know.
And,
And
it
that's
was
what
insane.
that's the first time I saw Black Craft.
I wish it was
I know
Velvet.
Seth
I
Rollins
didn't-
was very into Black Craft, so
Didn't
he
Tyrant
wore a
do
lot of
those
it.
shows?
Cool.
Tyrant, Grey Wolf, and
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah,
I miss
I would have
those
got
guys.
on.
I love those guys. They're
Yeah,
great.
I missed them a
I
lot
think
too.
they were out of Pittsburgh area somewhere.
Maryland, I think. Well,
Someone
that-
said Tyrant trained at a Monster Factory. Unless I
Possibly?
heard them wrong.
Possibly.
I don't know.
possible, yeah.
Whatever happened to that? Why did it die? Because now it's such a big thing. Black Craft
I think it was
is.
just like they weren't making much money.
Yeah, I
off
think
of
there
it.
might have been some like canceled stuff. from
Yeah,
back
I think
stage.
the,
Yeah,
the promoter.
yeah, that kind of.
We talked about on the show a type of ghost that you don't hear very often. A ghost cow.
Oh,
Ghost Cow.
Ghost cow.
Ghost Cow.
does it go?
Ooh.
I said, imagine like your house is haunted by a ghost cow. Like you're washing your face in the mirror and you like look and there's a fucking cow. there.
Yeah, and I said just be like chewing hay.
If there was ever ghost cows, it would be down home on the farm because we were a steer farm for 30 some years.
What would be the
So-
scariest animal to haunt your house that you wouldn't expect? Like obviously ghost. Like,
Okay, so let's limit
A
to something that
scary-
would fit
a
in your
s-
house.
a
You can't say
scary-
an elephant because it probably
who
wouldn't fit in
knows?
your
What
house.
if you open your door and ghost just a
But-
ghost elephant?
Well,
Well, we're not
it'll
gonna
be a
have
baby
ghost-
elephant, so it'll be
yeah.
a baby ghost elephant. So limit it to an animal that can fit in your house.
A ghost bear.
Oh yeah, a bear can
Bear.
fit in your
Yeah,
house,
that's what I was
Yeah.
A
thinking.
tiger, something like
Yeah,
that.
Ghost mountain lion.
I
Ghost
think-
mountain lion.
One of the most annoying might be a ghost parrot. 'cause
Oh,
it's talking.
I got it better.
There you go.
The ghost boar. My dad did kill a boar when I was like 7, 8 years old when it got loose from one of those hunts that people pay to go on and it's fenced in. It actually got loose and he killed it. Was out in one of our fields
you
while
go.
I was
heard
trying to
boars
catch
can be
butterflies.
very vicious.
Yeah, it was nasty.
You're
Looking.
haunted.
I had the
You're-
big
you're
teeth.
cursed by the ghost boar.
Yeah, the ghost boar.
Ghost boar. All right. I have the interview with Everyday People. We had a cancellation on Monday because of the bad weather. We rescheduled it. We did it on Wednesday. Joe Davis, great friend of ours. He also a professional wrestling manager and commentator.
Mhm.
Really, really cool guy. Got to learn a lot about him. He had an insane weight loss journey.
Wow, that was crazy. That
Yeah.
doesn't even look like him.
Yeah.
Picture he showed.
Uh,
Wow.
We talk about how he got into the wrestling business and his love for it. Great interview. Always looking for people to come hang out at interviews with Everyday People. You can go check that out. That'd be very, very helpful. Follow us on all social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, the whole nine, Tornado Tag Podcast. Thank you guys so much. Just announced we broke into the top 250 again for United States for a wrestling podcast.
Mhm.
So if you are watching this or you're listening back live, help us out. Help us out with an audio listen. Maybe sometimes if you're driving to work, put us on. I know some people just like to watch the video, but the audio helps
Well,
as
can you
well.
blame them? Look at us.
I know we're
Or-
just
or
look at
rate
Look at
it, you
this.
know?
Look at this fucking
Yeah.
hair. Anyway,
It's all
yeah,
Tony's hair.
it's all my hair. But yeah, all that stuff really helps. Sharing, letting people know that what you're listening to goes a long way for us. I actually just had some people reach out to me who are listeners that never ever told us they were listeners
Oh,
and
wow.
reached out and told me how much the show meant to
Oh,
them.
really quick, some breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Contract extension, it looks like.
Miro.
Well, no, this is
Yeah, he got
Yeah,
3 or
Miro-
4 years.
Four
Yeah.
years.
yeah.
Long.
But this is a
He
little,
knows it's good.
this is a little more breaking. Matt Hardy has inked a contract extension, so his contract will now run parallel to Jeff's.
Oh, okay,
There
makes
it
sense.
is.
That's nice though.
That's sick.
They won't be broken up again.
Why would you want one without the other?
Yeah.
What that always happens to them. They always go somewhere.
Well,
they,
yeah, because one leaves or something.
That's
yeah,
what I
but
mean. That picture where they
if
were
you-
hugging each other,
if
it was
you
like,
have the availability to get both,
yeah,
you're gonna take.
you
Yeah.
need both.
But yeah, like I said, the support, and like I said, a listener reached out and he's like, "Hey man, you're like, I wasn't really into wrestling, and listening to your show really got me back into it. I love what you guys do."
Oh, that's good, especially if you didn't like wrestling at all.
And it's well, he did, but then got away from
okay.
it.
Yeah.
But it means a lot when a listener comes out and just says, "Hey, I know we always ask for reviews or comments and stuff like that, but when someone reaches out or he comes up to us and tells, hey, I really enjoyed the show," it means a lot. We got a lot of love from the Monster Factory.
Yeah.
With the last episode, so that a lot of those people retweeted it and reached out and said they liked it and liked the history. So amazing job, Brian, once again on the history.
Thank you. It's so much fun to be there too, and well, open arms at the Monster Factory.
Beautiful.
So many people there, even people who were booked on the show, just helping us get set up production wise. And Davey Bly was doing great with that. And then he goes out there and wrestles.
Tommy and Mary Beth, not even booked, but came and hang out.
Yep.
Love them to death. But yeah, thank you guys so much as listeners. If you have the money to grab a t-shirt or a sticker or something, slap it somewhere or show us that support. If you do buy anything, take a picture with said merchandise and send it to us so we can put it on social medias. We truly appreciate it. The fact that we're ranked or we're even being ranked, it's cool. It's very gratifying, and the fact that you guys are really enjoying it means the world, and the support you guys have been giving us is awesome. But that's gonna do it for Tornado Tag Podcast episode 145. Brian, what can we expect next week?
Next week we are going to be talking with the crew at Wrestling Over Everything.
Yeah, merchandise.
Yeah.
Merchandise.
The logo I didn't understand.
Yeah,
I didn't either.
Yeah.
So I
Maybe
wasn't-
we'll ask.
Do it. Yeah,
Ryan,
50% of us
I
didn't get
did.
it.
I did.
Yeah,
You got it.
Wrestling over.
I'll
Everything.
tell you,
So-
I could look that for 10 years.
I'm good at
No,
those.
I think so.
I always remember those things, those little puzzles they would do, like where it's touch, but it's coming down. Oh, that means touchdown. And
Yeah,
those little.
Oh, like the symbol, symbol.
Yeah.
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 I was always good at
Symbol
those.
So we're going to
puzzles.
interview the company Wrestling Over Everything and learn a lot about them. One of the owners is a former wrestler himself, so
Oh,
we'll get
cool.
to dive into that a little bit. Very, very excited to have them on. And then we're going to pretty much be in the heart of Mania week, right?
Yeah, but one thing we're going to do next week, we're going to get a random number generator on one of our phones here. We're going to run a random number generator from 1 to 35. And the week after, the 26th, whatever number comes up, that is the WrestleMania we will be discussing.
I really hope it lands somewhere between like 4 and
Yeah.
10.
What if it
I
lands
wanted
on
an early
4?
one.
That's fine.
4 is not a great WrestleMania.
I mean, yeah.
Um,
I want like
I-
the late 80s, early 90s.
yeah, I just hope it's not one of the bad ones.
Yeah, like if it's which one is the Las Vegas one? With Jim
9.
Ross coming in 9. I
9.
know, yeah. I don't want that.
But also, if
2
you
was
are,
pretty
if you're
bad.
someone who wants
Now
to
it's
be
going
on
to
the
be
show,
9 for sure.
we do have the people who still submitted to come on the show. We are going to reach out to you. We're going to be setting that up very, very soon. We don't want every single week to be an interview because we still like doing our topics and we like standing out, because a lot of wrestling podcasts,
And
all
there's
they do
always
is
news
just
to talk
interviews.
about.
Yeah,
so-
and then because the weeks after that, you kind of have to do, because it's not just WWE, but you have to do a Mania like week preview and then a Mania week
Yeah, absolutely.
takedown. So that's what we're going to be doing. That's the foreseeable future.
Yeah, but we will reach out to you guys who have done who have signed up for interviews. We
Mhm.
will do interviews, but I think what we're going to do after we get through that list of interviews, if you really want to be interviewed as a wrestler, we will 100% do that for you. But we want to try to do a little different. We want to mix an interview as well as a topic you're into. So for like example, Joe Davis will be on the show.
Mhm.
He is a huge Bret the Hitman Hart fan.
Okay.
So we are going to do a Bret the Hitman Hart episode.
Awesome.
And then he will be on to talk Bret the Hitman Hart, and then we can pepper in some, well, how did you get it, like interview style questions while we're doing the topic.
Yeah, it makes it different. It's not the everyday interview time.
Yes.
Would you like to find out what WrestleMania we're
Let's
gonna
do
talk
it right
about
now.
Let's do
Let's
it, yeah.
right now. We're gonna
Okay,
hit
so we're
this
not
button.
doing the WrestleMania last year because it was last year. We're not
Yeah.
doing the empty arena one because that one doesn't exist.
One to
And we
35.
kind of covered that already on the podcast in previous episodes because
Yeah,
we were
yeah.
podcasting at that time.
Let's find out.
Come on.
31.
31.
31. John Cena and The Rock?
John Cena and Rusev. That was WrestleMania play button.
Okay.
That was Sting against
Oh.
Triple H. That was Brock Lesnar against. I kind of don't want to do that.
Yeah, I know.
31 it is.
I think I had
We're
the
going to hit
DVD
it again.
We're gonna do that again.
We're gonna
That-
do it
that was-
again.
I,
we don't wanna-
I think that's bunk.
I think I have that DVD.
I mean, I was hoping it wouldn't be that current one.
That
We can
wasn't,
do it.
wasn't
again.
Brock Lesnar and Dean, was it?
That was Brock Lesnar and Roman the
Roman.
first time. That was when Seth Rollins walked out with the title. That was Daniel Bryan won the Intercontinental title.
oh, no, ladder match.
hit it again
Yeah.
and we'll vote between the two.
30.
19, which is
Is that Hollywood?
No, 19 is Seattle. That is Brock Lesnar against Kurt Angle.
Okay.
All right, I vote for that one.
That is Shawn Michaels against Chris Jericho.
I vote for that
Oh,
one.
Yeah,
when
let's
he
do
punched
that
his
one.
wife in the face.
Yes, that is. It's funny we're talking about this.
That's the botched moonsault, right?
That is the botched shooting star press.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're shooting our press.
That is the match where Triple H had a pedigree on WrestleMania 17 and pinned Booker T at WrestleMania 20. Yeah, it's that one. It is the Undertaker against Nathan Jones on the Big Show. What else was on that show?
That's when they do the Undertaker streak. They don't touch on
Yeah.
that one.
That was
Somehow that always misses the.
Yeah.
I believe the Miller Lite Catfight girls were involved in that.
Oh.
Oh, this sounds
God.
fantastic.
And this is
Uh,
19, right? WrestleMania 19.
WrestleMania 19.
That's in the DVD set. So
Yeah. So, like I said,
I'll have
if
that
you just
network.
want to come on for a future topic, hit us up and let us know what topic that is going to be, and that's kind of how we're going. We do have some interviews lined up that we have.
But that'll be in 2 weeks then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2
2
weeks.
weeks, but,
WrestleMania 19.
that'll-
It's a good WrestleMania.
Yeah.
31 was good too, but it's a little too recent.
Yeah.
We should have did 1 through 30.
I like it. Well, that's going to do it for Tornado Tag Podcast. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week with Wrestling Over Everything interview. And yeah, we're on the road to WrestleMania. Let's point at the sign.
There's